I was 16 during my junior year of high school, which had a 9-period school day. Fifth period was lunch, followed directly by my astronomy class, held in one of the 2 basement classrooms. My high school was large, spanning 3 floors, but even that wasn't enough to accommodate all the classes offered, so they built 2 additional classrooms in the basement. It was honestly a bit creepy down there when no one else was around. The area had once been a janitorial space, but was remodeled to resemble a typical hallway. However, there were no intercoms or loudspeakers in the basement at that time, so no classes could be held there during first period when the morning announcements were made. Everyone referred to this little section of the basement as the chamber, and many students hoped to have classes there because it was air-conditioned and the courses were typically easier. Plus, it had its own bathroom. On that particular day, we had a quiz in astronomy. I usually finished quickly because I found the class easy. After completing my quiz, I texted my friend, who was in the other basement classroom, to meet me in the bathroom because I was bored. He agreed. I walked out of the classroom and down the small hallway to the bathroom. A few seconds later, the door opened and my friend JJ entered. We joked around for a while until JJ checked his phone and said someone had texted him about a school lockdown. We exchanged mischievous grins, realizing that neither of our teachers had seen us leave the classrooms. This meant we could explore the school during the lockdown. We decided to sneak upstairs and check the hallways just for fun, thinking the worst that would happen was we'd explain that we couldn't hear the announcements from the basement. When we opened the basement door to the main floor, we were surprised to find all the lights turned off, leaving the hallways nearly pitch black except for the light spilling in from the lobby doors. This was unusual. Typically, the lights remained on during lockdown. Something was definitely happening, and we hesitated to walk around. JJ stepped further into the hallway and I followed. He suddenly looked down the hall and asked, "Who's that?" Emerging from the darkness was a man. At first, we couldn't tell if he was a teacher, but as he got closer, it became clear he was not dressed like any staff member. He looked disheveled, almost like a bum. "All right, let's go," I told JJ, and we hurried back to the basement. We noticed both classrooms had their doors shut and lights off, so to avoid drawing attention, we decided to hide in the bathroom. I turned off the light as soon as we entered. We crouched in the corner stall. The silence was overwhelming. There was no ventilation or noise, just the sound of our breathing and the occasional drip from the sink. Suddenly, the bathroom door opened, flooding the room with light for a brief moment before it closed again, plunging us back into darkness. We tried to control our breathing, but the silence was so profound that we could hear someone approaching our side of the bathroom. The person stopped and began breathing heavily, as if they were out of breath. JJ, in a moment of panic, whispered in my ear, "We have to crawl out through the other stalls." Even his whisper echoed in the stillness. The heavy breathing outside the stall ceased, and we heard the person press against the stall door. I urgently whispered, "Go, go," to JJ. We crawled under the side wall to the next stall, then to the one after that, finally making it to the far side of the bathroom. The person outside began banging on the stall door. We quickly hopped up, opened the door, and as light flooded the room again, we saw the man from upstairs in the corner. We pounded on the door to JJ's classroom, and the teacher let us in within seconds. JJ explained everything as the teacher locked the door, mentioning that he had seen a gun sticking out of the man's pocket. I was shocked to hear this because I hadn't seen a gun, but I went along with it. Normally, high school students would laugh at such chaos. I noticed that all the kids in the corner looked genuinely concerned. A sudden bang at the door made everyone jump, and a couple of girls squealed in fear. JJ, the teacher, and I could see the man standing at the door, peering through the window while trying the doorknob. After several angry bangs on the door, turned and walked down the hallway back to the stairs. We don't know how much longer the lockdown lasted, but for over an hour, we sat in silence with the teacher occasionally asking JJ and me questions, shaking his head in disbelief at our story. Eventually, someone upstairs called the teacher, instructing us to walk single file up the stairs and out of the building, where we were greeted by police officers. JJ and I did our best to describe the man to the cops and the dean. One of the officers patted me on the back as we were sent home. In the aftermath of this incident, the school installed security cameras throughout the building and increased the security budget. The event never received media attention, so we never found out if the police caught the man. I remain convinced he intended to harm us in that bathroom stall.